Hey, what's up? This is Udolena from Udolena Digital. Welcome to my channel and be sure to subscribe. Every Sunday I post a new video about some of my favorite topics. I talk about my books that I'm reading, about different education materials and projects, as well as Google. I work for Google. Everything that I talk about here is my own personal interests, which are many, as you're going to see. Today I'm talking about an application called Duolingo. Maybe some of you are aware of it. And my journey on learning French. I speak already several languages. I am quadrilingual, so I speak 4 languages. I was born and raised in Bulgaria, which has its own language and its own alphabet. Then I studied Russian at school, so this is a different language from Bulgarian. Then, of course, I studied English as well at school, and I speak English, and now I live in the UK. I've also learned German in the course of my school years, and also my partner is German speaker. So, in a way, I have 4 languages already in my arsenal, and French is the 5th one. Why did I decide to study French? Well, as my friend the Merovingian says,
which French is my favorite, fantastic language, especially to curse with. Nom de Dieu, de putain, de bordel, de merde, de saloperie, de connard, d'enculé de ta mère. It's like wiping your ass with silk. I love it.
Well, this is not the main reason. So last summer I decided to go on a vacation in France. I always wanted to visit south of France, Arles, the places where Van Gogh was drawing, the ancient Roman aqueducts like Pont du Gard. It was a super inspiring place. I felt really great there, learned a lot about the culture, about France. I had been before in Paris, but it is nothing compared to Paris. Like south of France is just different planet, different world. So I enjoyed myself a lot and decided I want to learn a little bit more about the language. I want to actually learn a few words because it makes things easier with people in the shops, at the market, on the beach. So it makes things much easier. It makes things really fun. And of course opens up local people open to you and share more information. And you get to learn and experience more of the country. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about Duolingo as I decided to read a little bit more about the application and how actually the idea came up and why this application is becoming one of the best ways of learning a language around the world. At the moment there is 300,000 mobile users of the Duolingo application. It's completely free of charge, but still makes $80 million in revenue, which is insane. And this is all coming from advertising, and a small percent only is coming from the premium subscriptions. They said only 2% of people buy actually premium subscription, which is $9.99 per month, and basically enables you to have Duolingo without advertising and multiple lives. Let's say you can make more mistakes and study longer. The application was founded in 2009 by a professor from Pennsylvania University, Professor Luis von Ahn. He's originally from Guatemala, and his former student Severin Hacker, who is from Switzerland. So both of them non-native English speakers. Let's say they had to study English, and they understood the fact that education, and especially language education, is a huge business. I personally used to work in education before Google. I used to be in a company called EF, Education First, which offers all kind of education, especially in English, from preparation for university, a month course abroad, staying with a family abroad. So it's a huge market. There are 400 million people in China learning English, and 92% of European school children are learning also additional language apart from their native tongue. So you can imagine it's already a lot of interest, but also there is a barrier of finances, whether the parents can afford to send their children to private lessons, to add additional education resources. Languages are traditionally being studied privately. And this has broken down the barrier between people who have more means and people who don't. This is what actually Duolingo is trying to achieve, is trying to break down this barrier, at least make the entry level to a new language free. learning a foreign language like English, especially for majority of the world, is becoming a must. And you can learn multiple languages. You can learn like Swedish, and actually it's used by a lot of immigrants to Sweden to learn Swedish. It is used by people studying disappearing languages like Gaelic, Hawaiian language, Navajo, etc. Of course, it is used for people who need to learn a language because of work, because of personal interest like me, or just because they're curious. In 2011, both the professor and his student were able to generate first-time investing $3 million from Ashton Kutcher and from Tim Ferriss, actually, who were the first investors of Duolingo, amongst others. And it's interesting, actually, the professor who created Duolingo was the creator also of the reCAPTCHA. And there is a connection here. So reCAPTCHA, if you remember in the past, used to have these words that you have to write down, basically to write the word that you see in a blurry kind of a strange word. And these words actually came from old copies of New York Times, which basically had a deal with reCAPTCHA, with this company of the professor, to digitize their old copies. So reCAPTCHA was digitizing the old copies and using words from these digitizations for the reCAPTCHA tool. So 2 birds with 1 stone. And interestingly, they used in the beginning this concept also in the early version of Duolingo. There was a translation part which is now taken out. Now it's purely learning. So the translation part was using phrases, and people were asked to contribute and crowdsource, support and translate phrases from the New York Times in different languages. So this part was taken away because they wanted to focus really on the education part, but it's interesting aspect of the application. One of the reasons why Duolingo is so successful is the fact that it uses some concepts from video gaming, concepts which actually make things addictive. If you have watched my video on review on the book Hooked, you can watch it here. You will know that video games are basically the example of using human psychology to create addictive products. And why not create addictive products which is actually teaching you to study another language? That's absolutely amazing, right? You kind of gain a free skill for free, and you're using, let's say, these addictive techniques like badges, like playing in different leagues, notifications that you have to continue playing in your league. It's interesting that here, actually, with Duolingo, what I find out is the most important part is being consistent. With my streak of 405 days, I still can't realize that I've done that, but I'm now able to have simple conversations, to discuss very simple terms. Of course, if you want to learn a language in more detail and to become very proficient in it, Duolingo is not going to be enough. But it's a free platform, and you can get yourself to like almost intermediate level, and then you can basically sign up for a course, or maybe go and just move into the country and learn it properly there, right? Merci beaucoup pour regarder. Il y a une vidéo chaque dimanche ici sur cette canal de YouTube de moi. Merci beaucoup pour regarder, et à bientôt.